All right, what's up, guys? I'm Shay from the channel Zachary Shay, where I talk about books, comics, manga, and now, I guess, movies. I never set out to have a channel where I review movies. I do think I'll do a few more after deciding to do this one. So if you're new to this channel, just keep in mind I mostly do book reviews. But I wanted to review this film, and if you've clicked on this video, you probably know the movie I'm talking about is Sinners by Ryan Coogler. Written and directed by Ryan Coogler. This movie absolutely blew me away. I know there's a lot of hype around this movie, and I went into it thinking I'd enjoy it. I did not think I would love it as much as I did. I've seen Ryan Coogler's Creed, I've seen his Black Panther, and to me, this is his best film I've seen by far. I haven't seen all of his filmography, but this was the first time I'd seen an original IP. Black Panther, pre-existing world, MCU. Creed, pre-existing world, the Rocky movies. This was Ryan Coogler's film. It felt like a passion project. You've seen the trailer, you've seen the hype around it. Everyone talks about the vampires, the horror elements. What I think this movie does so well is that it establishes this late Prohibition era, this almost Western vibe, even though, it's in the 1930s, I believe 1932. And there's references to Al Capone. We follow these two twin brothers, these gangsters, as they come back to their hometown in Mississippi. We know that they had a lot of notoriety there, but they've been gone a while. We also follow their cousin, who has this deep connection with music. And that connection with music is something that's felt throughout the entire film. Music plays a very key role in this movie. And the character of Sammy, I think, is actually the main character. I think Michael B. Jordan is the star appeal. And Michael B. Jordan was absolutely amazing. But here's the thing about Sinners. I think this is a very hard movie to stand out because the cast is so overwhelmingly talented. Every single person in this movie is on their A game. Michael B. Jordan is playing the role of Smoke and Stack, and he plays these two twin brothers remarkably well. They could have gone the easy route and made Stack this very eccentric kind of wild character and made Smoke this overly stoic character to really show the differences between the two brothers. And while Smoke is more stoic and while Stack is more chaotic, they still feel like they would be two twin brothers that work as a team. They're still very similar. They still feel like they grew up together. They still feel like they have a lot of the same mannerisms. They do feel distinct from one another. In a scene, if it's Stack or if it's Smoke from the body language, from the way they carry themselves. But Michael B. Jordan's performance wasn't cliche in that he overacted the differences between the brothers. He just, that he had a different mindset going into each character. And man, he played both. I think he should be, get 2 Academy Award nominations because of this movie. If it sounds like I'm sycophantic when it comes to this movie, I'm just telling you, it's probably my favorite movie of the year. Absolutely amazing. He did phenomenal. One character that I thought was going to be... So if you've seen Black Panther, you're familiar with Martin Freeman's character. Nothing against Martin Freeman's performance. I think he's an amazing actor. I do think that character was put into that movie as a white good guy in the film to kind of have... It's someone for white audiences to endear themselves to, because historically at the box office, predominantly black casts aren't always given the same credence by white moviegoers. They're not going to show up. They're not going to sit in the seats. That has been proven statistically. So I thought Haley Steinfeld's character was a means to get, white viewers in the seats, and I was absolutely dead wrong. I think Haley Steinfeld did an amazing job. She played her part very well. She was very out of pocket in this movie, but I thought her relationship with Stack was very nuanced and kind of heartbreaking in a way. Even with its, out-of-pocket raunchiness at times, I thought that they had amazing chemistry together. But the female lead that absolutely stole the show in this movie was Wunmi Mosaku. Wunmi Mosaku. I think that's what I'm. If I'm butchering her name, I apologize, but she played the character of Annie, which is kind of the love interest of Smoke. So this is all spoiler light. I'm not going to get into anything that happened once, the sun goes down. But Annie was just such a nuanced character. She kind of played the role as the voodoo woman in this movie. But again, Ryan Coogler, You can tell he was inspired by like the voodoo women in other films and in other fiction, but she does not feel like a cliched version of that character. She feels very wise and very spiritual, but not to the point of being cartoony. It really rides that line, like it rides the line of almost being cartoony, but I think it does it so well. If people do find her character cliche, I just have to say it did that cliche better than anyone's done it in a long, long, long time. Speaking of cliche characters, Delroy Lindo played the character of Slim, which is kind of like the cliche drunk older guy, musician. Anyway, I thought Slim was phenomenal in this movie. I thought his character was so great. It's been a running joke with my girlfriend because Slim was her favorite character in the whole movie, and I'm like, "What's your obsession with Slim?" But I have to admit, like, he was awesome. No one could really steal the scenes in Sinners because the cast was that amazing. Even the main vampire villain, the devil-like character, the Irish devil, next level good. I mean, the antagonist was great for as little screen time as he got. He was awesome. There is not a weak link in this movie, but the main character definitely goes to Sammy, who is played by Miles Catton. The character of Sammy, to me, has this spiritual tie to music, and his music is tied up to his identity. We see this struggle with identity, with coming of age. This is really Sammy's coming of age story. It's him coming into manhood. You see this in multiple scenes throughout the movie. I'm not going to get into the particulars to keep it spoiler free, but while Michael B. Jordan is the star power behind this film, I do think Sammy is the heart of the film. And I do think, man, this actor stole if anyone stole the show, I think Sammy, like anytime he performs, anytime he sings, all eyes are on him. Man, it was just a star-studded cast. The wardrobe was amazing. The set design was amazing. We really felt like we were in Prohibition, Mississippi. And oh my gosh, the character of Smoke, I thought was awesome. And that's really what puts this a mark above most horror films, is that if there were no horror elements, there still would have been a story to tell in this movie. Just the two brothers trying to start a club and the Deep South where there's Klan activity, there's Klan members out and about. That would have been a worthwhile watch even without the vampires. But then you add those fantastical horror elements in, and I'm hooked. As a fantasy fan, I love that. And as a horror fan, I love that. But to me, what made this stand out is there was a story to tell before the fantastical elements even came into being. So Ryan Coogler, the best thing he did in this movie, and what I think we need to normalize with horror movies, is the sun goes down, the vampires come out. The normal horror movie would have cut straight to nighttime within the first 20 minutes, and in those first 20 minutes would have packed it full of jump scares that added nothing to the plot. Instead, what he did is, first half of this movie is just two brothers trying to open a club. It's comedic, it's charming, it doesn't lean into any of the horror elements. I mean, there is a scene with a rattlesnake. If you've seen the trailer, I'm pretty sure it shows it. There's a scene with like a rattlesnake, but I didn't even think that was jump scary. It really just lets you sit with the characters. It is a slow burn. And then by the time that the sun is down and the vampires are out, you're so endeared to the characters. It is honestly amazing versus the cannon fodder teenage cliches, 20-somethings that, happen upon a serial killer that we're used to seeing in most big budget horror films. We're used to seeing those cannon fodder type characters, those, meat for the grinder. And Sinners, none of the characters felt like that. Maybe one or two, I didn't really care about what happened to them, but those were outliers. And yeah, I definitely think if you're on the fence about it, or if you're like me and you don't usually want to jump onto the hype train all the time with movies, I'm telling you, Sinners is worth the hype. It is awesome, and you need to stay after the credits. Just stay as long as you're willing to in that seat, because if you leave before the mid-credit scene, you're gonna miss out on like pretty much the ending of the movie. Like, if you leave right when credits start rolling, you didn't watch the end of the movie. It like very essential plot details come to the forefront after the credits start rolling. So you're going to want to stay in that seat. And I believe that there is another post-credit scene that's more of like a epilogue homage to some of the musical themes of the movie, but it's not quite as essential to the enjoyment of the plot. But yeah, Sinners, Ryan Coogler, another Ryan Coogler, Michael B. Jordan pairing. It very much feels like a Scorsese, Leonardo DiCaprio, or Quentin Tarantino, Samuel L. Jackson type relationship, where it's just going to be, you see those two in a movie together, you know that's how it's going to be. But yeah, man, if you saw Sinners, let me know down in the comment section below what you thought, and peace.